Yeah, so the last part of this PowerPoint is just to cover the different options you may have. Both Joanna and I took a year out, but as mentioned in the first bullet point, you've got the traditional route, which is after year 13, you've done your UCAT during year 12, the summer towards year 13, you apply, you get your offers, you get your interviews, you get your conditional offer, you get your grades, and then you just go to uni. You can defer. So that's getting your offer and then deferring it. So you've got a confirmed place for the following academic year. You've got gap year and you've got the postgraduate route. So Joanna, do you want to quickly talk about your gap year and what you did?
Yeah, so based on the fact that I didn't get any offers and I didn't get some grades that I wanted to get for my exams, I resat the year. I basically did an entire academic year again. I know that Rayhan didn't go through that option, but he will talk about that later. And I did all the aptitude tests again. And it was pretty much like the traditional route, but you just have an extra year to do it. You're just doing it again, basically. Some people I know don't go back to sixth form.
So that was me.
Yeah.
So I did retake one subject, so I retook maths. But I didn't feel the need to go back to sixth form just to learn maths. I thought I could do it at home and I could just spend the year doing something else. So in my gap year, I worked for 1 year in Oxford Street in retail, which is completely different to dentistry, but I just did that. Sat my exams at my sixth form in June. But of course, like Joanna, I had to retake my aptitude tests. So I did that again. And I did some more work experience because I had the time. And when it does come to gap years, I think what I'd say is make sure you do your research because the entry requirements and guidelines do change from year to year. So my advice would be to personally send an email to the admissions teams of the universities that you want to apply to. So you get a good idea of if one, they consider reapplicants, and two, you've got a good chance of getting an interview. Because at that point, it's an even playing field. It doesn't matter if you're a gap year student, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 A stars, 11 A stars, 20 A stars. When it does come to interviews, if it depends on how well you perform there and then. So yeah, I took a year out, didn't go to school, I did something different. But like Joanna, I retook my aptitude tests and some exams, did my research. So King's and Manchester allowed reapplicants at the expense of getting an A star. So you need to make sure that you know exactly what your requirements are as a reapplicant. And yeah, I guess we're proof that if you don't get in the first time round, it's not the end. Please, if you're considering dentistry and you know it's a career for you, upon doing research, if you know universities are taking reapplicants or anyone that's taking a gap year, we highly recommend taking it because it's so much better than doing a whole undergraduate in a different degree that you don't want to do. You're going to spend time and money on that just to make your life harder. And we'll move on to the postgraduate route, which I think, Joanna, you know quite a bit about for King's.
So I'm just going to quickly go over what King's offer. I know that UCLan also do just only postgrad, so it's an only postgrad based university for dentistry, but postgraduates are basically people who have done an undergraduate degree before. People who have done a degree before can either go into two routes. They can apply again for the 5-year course or in King's, and I'm sure other universities. I'm not exactly sure which ones, but I know that King's definitely does this. They have a postgraduate entry for dentistry, and this is a 4-year course. And so it's a lot more selective. It's extremely competitive, but if you do have a passion for dentistry and you do feel like, after doing a degree, you're thinking maybe you could go down a different route, but no, you do want to do dentistry, you can go down this route and do the postgrad interview, and you don't have to do the GAMSAT, you can do the UCAT again, and after doing that, hopefully your scores are good, you can apply and you have your interview like you would in normal dentistry, and it will be a 4-year course. So ultimately you skip the first year, which in King's is very biomedical science heavy, and then you basically go straight into the hospital. And so, for example, in my year, so I just finished second year, we had about 20 students come into my year group, and they basically had done a degree before, and so they didn't need to do the first year that we had done, which was just lecture-based biomedical science. So yeah, in terms of the differences, it's just that they might be slightly older, But ultimately, the route of application is the same as all the ones mentioned above.
And then for me, at Manchester, we've got postgraduate students studying the undergraduate course. So we don't have a separate postgraduate course for dentistry where you'd have students applying into. If you are a postgraduate, you'd apply through the undergraduate route, which is the 5 years. So you would be up against, so for example, when I applied to Manchester, I was up against postgraduate students as well. So there are certain universities that have that where they don't have the option to apply to a specific postgraduate route itself. So in my year group, we've got a couple postgraduates in the year, and they had to stay for all 5 years. So you start from BDS1 all the way to BDS5. Whereas with Joanna, they join in the second year.
That being said, sorry, just to interrupt, just that being said, there are a lot of students who have done a degree before that do also apply for the undergrad. So the majority of my first year are actually people who've done degrees before. So the minority are actually people via the traditional route and gap years. So if you're worried about taking a gap year and thinking you're going to be older than the rest of your cohort, you really don't have to worry about things like that.
Yeah, so that's it really. I think these are the main options of how you'd get into dentistry. If you are at any part of, like, so for example, if you are a postgraduate or if you are taking a gap year currently and you're listening on, please do sort of check the socials for TLP and get into contact with some of us, because like Joanna and I, we've taken gap years, and we can help you and direct you in the best way that we can as to what universities to apply to and sort of how to put it so that it works in your favor. So adding it into your personal statement, your interviews could be really good. So if you aren't listening in currently or later on, and you find yourself not following the traditional route, but deferring a gap year or postgrad, definitely do try and contact us as well.
And not just us in terms of gap years, we know a lot of people in our year groups who would be more than willing to help. And so hopefully we can, if we can't personally give you what we feel like is the right help, we can hopefully direct you towards someone that would be able to.